Okay, so here we are. Today is a big Bible study. It was the answer to the prayers that you and I sent up about understanding more things and timing with what's going on. And the Lord gave me the answer, and He gave it to me in prophecy written in the Bible, Jeremiah 25, which is a rather difficult passage to interpret because it jumps across thousands of years. It's pertaining to Israel. That's what I'm here for, to teach the prophecies of Israel and the nations as it is, is affected and concerned with Israel. Okay, so there are no prophecies specifically about what happens to other countries other than when they're involved in interactions with Israel. Okay, pretty much. So it is a hard Bible study, and it's scary for me to deliver it, but I searched the Lord all morning, and I believe we're good to go. I don't think I have error. Okay. It's a big, heavy Bible study. Okay. We're basically talking about billions of people getting cut off, okay? And from what the Lord has shown me, that we're in the year of recompenses, which was told to me on or around August 1st, 2023, give or take maybe 2, 3, 4 days. I don't remember the exact date, but He told me this is it. He didn't tell me it started now, so it was likely ongoing. For how long, I don't know. Now, there's also considerations that some of this might happen in the year of redemption, but I'm not so sure that what I'm going to cover today happens in the year of redemption. I'm not seeing it that way. So this is a big thing. I'm not going to get into current events much at all. And so if you don't care about the Bible and you're looking for intel, you're going to get real intel here. The prophetic word of the Lord that has to come true, but most of the intel seekers reject that. For me, on the one hand, some of you will understand this is very easy for me to see this coming. On the other hand, all right. Oh, I gotta check something. When I was walking in, before I got in here, I got a SMS. I'm expecting a delivery. I gotta take a look at what's going on. Give me a second. This is gonna be lickety split quick. Okay. And people are coming in. We'll wait for the chat to get populated. It seems to me they're repeating the message. I don't understand why they're repeating it. It's 2 things. Okay. All right. So here we go. Let me go into the chat and put my email address and an offerings post in there, and that take a couple of minutes. And also I'm checking for sound and picture, which is, I would say, rather important, and I have had experiences in the past. So okay, we got sound and picture. People are coming in. And I'm just going to do very quick posts while people are coming in. They're going to be really quick. But this is going to be a really, really heavy Bible study in terms it's going to weigh on you heavily. Not individually, but for what's going to happen, okay? And you got to be prepared, and you just got to remember all things work for good to those who love the Lord. And those that wait on the Lord shall not be disappointed. And we don't really understand the heaviness of that, but He's going to reward you in ways you'll never imagine. He knows you better than you. You'll be extremely happy. But it's going to be lock yourself in the chambers for a little while until it passes, and that's it. Okay. So let me get my posts up, which is not going to take long at all, so stick around. And again, those of you that could care less about God and the Bible, and you just want intel, this is the real intel, but you may not believe that. So you should listen to it. The Bible's never wrong. Historically, all these things have come to pass. They never miss. They miss when people don't understand the timing for it. They misquote it, they misinterpret it. Then it passes. And these are the times when we're going to know His name is Jehovah. Okay, almost there, guys. Just real quick. And then we'll get going. I prefer to just talk while I put the posts up, but some people just give you a blank screen with scrolling. Live starts in 3 minutes. I don't like doing it. And then people come in the chat, and I don't have any mods, so they just post garbage up, and I'm not here. And some of them post very foul, offensive things. If any of you see them with foul, insulting, nasty posts, you can report the post as well as I can. You know, so don't be afraid to report it. These people are just running around the internet disturbing Bible-believing sites. That's all they're doing. Okay, being a Bible-believing site, I'm going to do some praise to start. And I have no control over who joins in and who doesn't join in. Okay, there is no God like Jehovah. 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 There is no Messiah like Yeshua. 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 Well, I'll tell you, people in Israel are stressed. The economy is, I don't really know how many people feel it. I know that the tourism is like nothing. There are diehard people that come to Israel during the wars. They do that. And there are some, but I'd say it's down 90 to 95%. It's been down so long that I think some of the tourism businesses must be defunct by now. The hotels are not doing that bad because they're housing displaced people in the hotels, particularly in Eilat. We see the Arab media, the pro-Muslim, pro-Palestinian, anti-Israel media, not all the Arab media, these anti-Israel, you know, posting that, you know, they're doing tremendously well in Hezbollah and Hamas, and that's not the case. People are saying that America and the UK are attacking the Houthis, getting ready for something bigger, but I don't believe it. The Houthis are running around picking off ships like crazy, and nobody's doing anything about it. They don't attack it anymore. That's because they made a decision to get rid of Iran, which the scripture in Jeremiah 49, it actually says Elam, which includes parts of what we call Iraq and Syria. And we know Damascus will be a ruinous heap, but we're going to go into Jeremiah 25, and the reason it's very complicated is it talks back, it references things that already came to pass a long time ago. Okay? And I'll show you when the passage shifts for the future. And it would be shocking, okay? And you have to keep thinking of Jeremiah 30, verse 11, and Jeremiah 46, verses 28. Before we start, let me read you those, just to keep it fresh in your mind. And the Jeremiah 30, verse 11 passage is associated with the birth pangs and the nation being born in a day and Jacob's trouble, which is Zechariah 12, the siege against Judah and Israel where they surround us. And the two witnesses burn them up. Okay. For I am with thee, saith Jehovah, to save thee, though I make a full end of all nations. The word is the goyim, it means the heathen nations, whither I have scattered thee. So if they were scattered into the heathen nations, which we know happened for thousands of years, it's obviously not Israel that he makes a full end. Yet I will not make a full end of thee, there it is, but I will correct thee in measure, and will not leave thee altogether unpunished. Now we know we've been punished. Now we'll read the same thing for a fact in Jeremiah, I think it's 48:26. We'll find it. No, it's probably 46:28, like I said. Okay, Jeremiah 46:28. That's it. Sorry. Fear thou not, O Jacob, that's Israel, my servant. Saith, now the word for servant is a bed, servant or a slave. Okay. Saith Jehovah, for I am with thee, for I will make a full end of all the nations whither I have driven thee, but I will not make a full end of thee, but correct thee. And now the word for correct is it's asar or yisar. It's correct, discipline. Yet, but will correct thee in measure, yet will I not leave thee wholly unpunished. So in measure means according to how much iniquity they did. All right, so we know this is going to happen. Now we're going to put the pieces together with Jeremiah 25. But first I've gotten some other things from the Lord that I need to share that's pretty interesting. We've discussed the temple and the tabernacle coming in Ezekiel 37, the last three verses, which I guess for those that may not have been here a long time listening, I'll go through that. Okay, so we're in Ezekiel 37, verse 26. Moreover, I will make a covenant of peace with them. Yeshua is the peace offering. It shall be an everlasting covenant, so think everlasting life, you know, with them, and I will place them or put them. That means the next great exodus into Israel, or all the little exoduses preceding, and multiply them. That means many children. And then it says, and will set. Well, the same word for set is natan, as place. So let's just not read it the way the lousy translators wanted to confuse us, and say, and will place or put my sanctuary temple in the midst of them forevermore. Jerusalem's the middle of us. Okay? My tabernacle also shall be with them. So the word for tabernacle is mishkan, which is tabernacle. And the word for sanctuary is mikdash, which would be more temple. And then it says, also shall be, let's check the words. Ehu, come to pass. So come to pass is a nice way of saying it, with them. So the tabernacle will be with us. And we know in 2 Maccabees 2 that Jeremiah the prophet, before the Babylonian captivity, took the actual real tabernacle, plus the altar of incense, which I assume he brought incense with it too, and the Ark of the Covenant, and he hid it in a cave in a mountain, in Mount Nebo, which is where Moses died, and sealed it up so we wouldn't have it until the Lord starts to show mercy on us, which is any day now, year of redemption. My tabernacle also shall be with them, and I will be their God, and they shall be my people. Now this is where it gets interesting. And the goyim, the heathen, shall know that Ani Yehovah, I Yehovah, do kadosh, make holy Israel, when my sanctuary shall be in the midst of them forevermore. Well, if a bunch of rabbis built the temple, why would the heathen think that Jehovah has made Israel holy? They wouldn't. But he puts this temple here. And then, I'm not going to go through it today, but when you read Ezekiel 43, it shows us the temple, it shows us the glory of God of Israel going into the temple, which the churches don't even know what that is. And we're told about the rules and the ordinances of the temple about how to operate. Like on Shabbat, you go in this door and out the other door. It talks about that. And it also shows us in Ezekiel 45 the anointed prince in the temple from the line of David. David shall never lack a man to sit on the throne. But this is not New Jerusalem. This is not Yeshua. This is for today, basically, or in the next few days or weeks. And David shall never lack a man to sit on the throne. It also says it's elected unto man to die only once, and David died. So it's a little stupid to think David's going to come back and be the anointed prince. When you read the anointed prince gets cut off, 60, 70 years down the road in the second 70, in Daniel 9, I think verse 26 or 27, I'll read it, just to give you some background and refreshing. And it says, and after 62 weeks, they don't have the timing right at all. Forget their timing. They misinterpret and twist the words. Shall Messiah, well, the word for Messiah means anointed. It's used about 104 times in the Old Testament. And probably most of that time, it does not reference Yeshua. It means anointed. So Yeshua is really referred to in the Bible as Yeshua HaMashiach. Yeshua, which is based on the root word of salvation, the anointed. Okay, shall the anointed be cut off, but not for himself. And the people of the prince that shall come shall destroy the city and the sanctuary. Well, and the end thereof will be like a flood unto the end of the war. Desolations are determined when desolations is in the temple, the abomination of desolation. So this anointed, which is the anointed prince, gets cut off. It's not the two witnesses, okay? And I'm not going to develop that in the book of Daniel. I said we'll be here all day. I got to move. So, so I'm giving you the groundwork here, getting, making sure you know the background to all this stuff. On the messages, the people here are rather not many. They don't want to hear this, See, the problem with the people that try to study the Bible and go to the churches is they are taught to reject what the churches don't teach. And they don't follow the scriptures. I think all they got to do is believe Yeshua is the Messiah. We've showed the errors of that many times. Okay, well, lo español aquí, we do English here, sorry. Okay. So now we'll get into Jeremiah. Chapter 25, and you might want to brace yourself. The word that came to Jeremiah concerning all the people of Judah in the 4th year of Jehoiakim, the son of Uzziah, king of Judah, that was the 1st year of Nebuchadnezzar, king of Babylon. Okay, so this is when the prophecy was given. It does not mean that it was for that day, okay? The which Jeremiah the prophet spake unto all the people of Judah. So this, him giving the prophecy was at the time of Judah, before the Babylonian captivity, I assume. And to all the inhabitants of Jerusalem. So he references Judah and Jerusalem, or Jerusalem. Judah and Jerusalem would be the Hebrew. From the 13th year of Uzziah, the son of Ammon, king of Judah, even unto this day, that is the 23rd year, the word of Jehovah hath come unto me, and I have spoken unto you, rising early and speaking out, you have not hearkened. In other words, they haven't paid attention to him. Okay? So the Babylonian captivity is coming, okay? Verse 4, and Jehovah hath sent unto you all his servants, the prophets, rising early, and sending them, but you have not hearkened, nor inclined your ear to hear. They said, turn you again now, every one from his evil way, and from the evil of your doings, and dwell in the land. And the word for the land is Adamah, the earth, the land. that it's not really Ha'er, it's the land of Israel, but it would mean the land. I'm sure he's referencing Israel. That Jehovah hath given unto you, it's obviously Israel, and to your fathers forever and ever. Well, we're going to be getting the fulfillment of that very, very shortly. And go not after other gods, serve them, and to worship them, and provoke me not to anger with the works of your hands, and I will do you no hurt. Yet you have not hearkened unto me, saith Jehovah, that you might provoke me to anger with the works of your hands to your own hurt. Therefore thus saith Jehovah of armies, because you have not heard my words, behold, I will send and take the families of the north, saith. That word for families is mishpocha. It's the tribes of the north. Okay. Better translated. Saith Jehovah, and Nebuchadnezzar, the king of Babel. The word Babylon doesn't exist in the Bible, really. In the Hebrew, it's Babel. And it stands for confusion, or it means confusion. The king of Babylon, my servant, and will bring them against this land and against the inhabitants thereof, and against all these heathen round about, and will utterly destroy them and make them an astonishment and a hissing and perpetual desolation. Now, the word for perpetual is olam, which doesn't necessarily mean perpetual at all. It means going out for a long time. So, before, I guess the 1900 or something like that, Mark Twain, Kent Israel, other people, I used to read a book of lithographs of what Israel was like when they came here. It was just wasteland. There wasn't much going on. There were some people living in a few cities like Tiberias, Haifa, Jerusalem, but they were very, very small cities, tiny. And they weren't very well built up. And, out of these cities, there was nothing going on. And the Arab countries were pretty desolate too. When they got the oil, these Arab countries were running around with camels and horses and falcons, hunting with falcons, and they were living in tents in the desert. Now, when they live in a tent, you got to understand, the wealthier ones had very large tents. They were probably, maybe 1, 2, even 3,000 square feet. That would be a stretch. Probably 1 or 2,000 square feet, I think. I mean, there were sturdy tents, and they'd go up, 8, 10 feet. And they had covers over them. They had a way to keep the rain off, but what rain? They're in the desert, right? There wasn't a lot of rain. And they put carpets down, so they weren't walking around on, sand. They were walking on carpets. And they had couches, which were not American or European style couches. They're things they laid down on. Maybe they would have saw you off the floor or something like that. And they ate on those, and they had low tables. They sit near a table. They didn't have running water. They didn't have toilets. They didn't have air conditioning. But they were used to the heat, and they were in there, and they were out of the shade. They were in the shade. And that's how they lived. Okay? And they had animals. And then along came the oil. And then they started, you know, of course, they got taken advantage of by oil companies selling rights and stuff, and they came in and mined the oil, or you know, got the oil out of the ground for them and paid them royalties. You know, paid them money. They didn't know how to get the oil out, and they started having a lot of money, and they started doing things that were pretty stupid. They would dig. I don't know what you'd call it. A big tunnel. Maybe it would go 100 yards or something, and it would go down maybe 20 feet, and they'd fill it with water, and they would buy yachts and put them in the water in the tunnel, and they'd go on the yacht. And then they did the same thing with trains. They'd buy a locomotive with a couple of passenger cars, one or two, and they'd build a few 100 yards of track and drive the train up and down the track, and they wouldn't go anywhere. That was their mindset. Then they bought Rolls Royces. They really bought Rolls Royces, and they drove them around in the sand. And then they started developing these countries. Now, you know, not all of them. I mean, Cairo, Egypt was a pretty big place, you know. Some of the cities had, you know, some population, but it was generally just desolate, okay? So it was not a everlasting desolation. They confuse you with this, so you can't understand prophecy. It's so long. So you'd have a long-lasting desolations. Now I'm in verse 10 of Jeremiah 25. Moreover, I will take from them the voice of mirth and the voice of gladness, the voice of the bridegroom and the voice of the bride, the sound of the mills, of the millstones, so they're not working anymore, and the light of the candle. And this whole land shall be a desolation and an astonishment, and these nations shall serve the king of Babel 70 years. Now this is the first Babylonian captivity, so Israel was basically rather desolate. And the nations were also desolate to some extent. And this is your first of the two 70s in Daniel 9:24. It doesn't say 70 weeks. That's the stupidest translation, yet all the English except for one, Smith's Literal, does it that way. But in the Hebrew, in every Hebrew manuscript you're going to find, it says Shavim, 2 70s. The first 7 are put forth for your people, which is Israel. The first was the Babylonian captivity, and the second is the next 70. I gotta see what this is. Hello? Hi. Shaliach. Okay. Yesh Anglit Saith or Lo Anglit? Okay. Efo Atar Shab Perir Elite or Efo? Okay, yeah, yo, Ani Garab Derek Hashaked. Okay, Ani Bo Lurukov Derek Hashaked Akshav Beseda. Okay, Yesh Auto or Truck or Ma? Levon, what? Okay, okay. I go, okay, so Anigara B'derek HaShaked, Anibo Akshav, huh? Achutz, Akshav, B'sid? Yeah, Akshav, yeah, Achutz, right now. Okay? Okay, bye. All right, I gotta go outside and get a package of some sort. I'll be a minute or 2 or 3. Sorry about that. That's life in Israel. You work for the courier. Sorry about that, guys. That was a pretty good messenger. Oh. That's life in Israel. I've had a very busy day today. We had the guy come and do some, he was cleaning out the mildew or the mold, or both, from the air conditioners. So that was one disruption. And then I've got somebody coming to talk about a generator later, I don't know when. So this is probably the courier stating that he delivered the package, but I gotta check. Life in Israel, huh? Israel could be a very exciting place to live. Very interesting and exciting, and at the same time, very, very difficult. Now, I've got to look something up real quick here. I was working on a theory about when the temple would show up, and or the tabernacle. And I think I got caught speeding on this, but I'll tell you what I was thinking. Gotta get my thoughts. I don't think it makes sense, but I'll tell you what I'm thinking. That the Lord might not want to bring the temple, maybe not even the tabernacle, until the 9th of Av passes, which is the date that the two previous temples were destroyed. Herod's temple and Solomon's temple. And there's different reckonings as to when that is. So the rabbis have it coming in around August 14th. Okay. So that doesn't hold up, because I think it will, or it might, I don't know. It might hold up, I don't know. See, my thought is he might not want to give us the temple before the 9th of Av, because it might be, the people would believe that it's going to get destroyed, or the nations may want to destroy it, and stuff like that, okay? So, my wife brought this up to me, and she said that it's on the 14th of July, but that's a different reckoning of it than what I think would be correct. So probably August is what I would think. Oh, that would be the one that the Israelites would understand. So there is, I think the Lord showed me the date may not be the issue here, that he was showing me. What he was showing me is that I don't think he's bringing the temple until after the ninth of Av, because of that what I just told you about it, them thinking it's going to be destroyed with the war and all this. So what date did they actually have this? This is the rabbinical, August 14th. So, I see no reason to set this aside as invalid in Scripture. Now you got to remember, Scripture tells us that there's two things coming. I'm calling them things: a tabernacle, the tabernacle, and the temple. The temple comes down from heaven. The tabernacle comes from Mount Nebo. So we might have the tabernacle prior, because it's not going to lend itself to Bible prophecy understanding to the Jews or anybody else that the tabernacle would be destroyed on the 9th of Av. That never happened. It was just the temples. So we see in Malachi 3 Elijah training the Levites to make the sacrifices and offerings acceptable unto the Lord. So there's probably at least the tabernacle. If we want to get technical, you could do it just with an altar, but I think it'll be more than that. Maybe not, but I'm quite sure it would. Would it work with just an altar? It would. Elijah did a sacrifice with just an altar called fire down from heaven. And that was the turning point of Jezebel and her rotten priests. Who's Jezebel? A type of the daughter of Babylon, but the whore of Babylon, right? Elijah killed a lot of them. Elijah's a warrior too. So I think what the Lord was actually showing me was that he doesn't want to bring a temple before the 9th of Av. Okay. So now we're back in Jeremiah 25. And we're up to verse 10. Moreover, I will take from them the voice of mirth and the voice of gladness, the voice of the bridegroom and the voice of the bride, the sound of the millstones and the light of the candle. And this whole land shall be a desolation and an astonishment, and these nations shall serve the king of Babylon 70 years. Okay, we're already there. So that happened. Now, let's start looking at the shift to the future. And it shall come to pass when 70 years are accomplished, what was still in the past there, that I will punish the king of Babylon and that nation, saith Jehovah, for their lawlessness, and the land of the Chaldeans, which is Babylon, and will make it perpetual desolation. Again, a long-lasting desolation. And that's when Cyrus took them over. And I will bring upon that land all my words which I have pronounced against it, even all that is written in this book, which Jeremiah hath prophesied against all the nations, plural. Now watch the shifting. For many nations, and that's heathen nations, and great kings shall serve themselves of them also, and I will recompense them according to their deeds. Recompense, you think here of recompenses, right? This is the nation serving themselves of Israel. The word for serve is a bear, and let's see how Strong's puts it into English. Enslave, keep in bondage. Okay? That's what Biden's doing to us, the UN's doing to us, they're all doing it to us. And great kings shall serve themselves of them also, and I will recompense them according to their deeds, the nations serving themselves of Israel, and according to the works of their own hand. For thus saith Jehovah Elohim of Israel, so it's saying Jehovah, God, Israel, unto me, take the wine cup of this fury at my hand, and cause all the nations to whom I send thee to drink it, and they shall drink it and be moved and be mad because of the sword that I will send among them. Now, we need to understand a few things. If he prophesied it to the nations back then, God could do nothing or doesn't do anything until he speaks it through his prophets. So the prophecies of Jeremiah, Isaiah, Ezekiel, and so forth are still in effect, and they're still available. They're right there in the Bible to read, okay? Israel has them. And they do read them. Even though they study the Talmud, they do study the prophecies. They don't say the Talmud cancels the prophecies. The Talmud has its own prophecies, I believe, but they don't cancel the Bible prophecies as far as I know. So, he doesn't have to go to the nations today and walk in with a cup and say, here, drink or I'll kill you, I'm a prophet of the Lord. You know, it was, you know, the Lord's using the cup of wine like tares in wheat. It's an allegory, okay? And they shall drink and be moved. The word moved is gosh, shaken or quaking or trembling. Trembling is good. And be mad. And the word for mad is halal. Let's check the Strong's, how he puts it in English. To boast, make a show. Foolish. And they shall be mad. They shall be boasting, make a show. What's Iran saying? We're going to destroy Israel. What's Lebanon saying? We're going to destroy Israel. The Houthis, they're all saying the same thing. Okay? Pride cometh before a fall. They got a lot of pride. And cause all the heathen to whom I send thee to drink it, this cup. And they shall drink and be moved and be mad because of the sword that I will send among them. Now, there we go. Cherub is a sword or a knife. We'll call it a sword. And the sword is war. So if we didn't read any further, we will, but we wouldn't have to. The nations are getting it by the sword. Then took I the cup of Jehovah's hand, and made all the heathen to drink unto whom Jehovah had sent me. To wit, Jerusalem and the cities of Judah, and the kings thereof, and the princes thereof, to make them a desolation, an astonishment, a hissing, and a curse, as it is this day. Okay. So, this is the desolation that came while they were in Babylon. Now, Pharaoh, king of Egypt, and his servants, and his princes, and all his people. Now, let's go back. Come on back here. It says to wit. That's the Hebrew word et. Translation's challenging here. It really doesn't have a translation into English. It's pointing out Jerusalem and the cities of Judah and the kings thereof and the princes thereof, to make them a desolation, astonishment, a hissing, and a curse, as it is to this day. So that's from the past. Pharaoh, king of Egypt, and his servants and his princes and all his people, and all the mingled people, all the kings of the land of Uz, all the kings of the land of the Philistines, and Ashkelon, and Azah, and Ekron, and the remnant of Ashdod, Edom, Moab, children of Ammon, and all the kings of Tyrus, and the kings of Zidon, and the kings of the isles which were beyond the sea, Dedan, and Tema, and Buz, and all that are in the utmost corners, and all the kings of Arabia, and all the kings of the mingled people that dwell in the desert, and all the kings of Zimri. All right, and let me go back and explain to you what's going on here, because this is very difficult to interpret. He says, in wit, Jerusalem and the cities of Judah and the kings of blah, 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 but to make them a desolation and astonishment and a hissing and a curse, as it is this day. Okay, that was fulfilled. They drank of this wine cup and they were mad and all that, and it was fulfilled. But now he mentions the countries, but he's not telling us it was fulfilled. Pharaoh, king of Egypt, is referencing Egypt. In verse 20, all the mingled people and all the kings of the land of Uz. I don't know where the heck Uz is. Let's see. It's in the Arabian desert someplace. Maybe the Sinai Peninsula. It's supposed to be near where the Philistines were. Maybe the Sinai Peninsula. And all the kings of the land of the Philistines, that's Gaza. And Ashkelon, that's right on the top of Gaza, maybe at one time the worst part of Palestine. And Gaza, where the heck is Gaza? Gaza, that's a Hebrew pronunciation for Gaza, so that's Gaza. And Ekron, what's that one? Ekron, where are you? It's northern Gaza, or it might be Ashkelon or something. Well, we have Ashkelon. I don't Ashdod. I don't know. No, Ashdod's named. It's probably near Ashkelon and Ashdod. And the remnant of Ashdod. Edom and Moab, which is Moab would be Jordan. Edom, I think, is northwest Saudi Arabia by Jordan. And the children of Ammon, that's northern Jordan, their capital. And all the kings, so it could be Jordan, and Jordan's border back then could have included Edom. Now it doesn't. See, these borders change. And all the kings of Tyrus, well, that would be Lebanon, I believe. Yeah, I would go with Lebanon. Let me double check. I would say Lebanon on that one. And all the kings of Zidon, which I think is also Lebanon, north of Tyre, it would be Lebanon, I believe. And the kings of the Isles, which are beyond the sea. Well, that could be North America, South America, the Caribbean. Beyond the sea would mean the Mediterranean. And that would be far away. So this did not happen with Cyrus, okay? Dedan is Saudi Arabia, and Tema, that's south in Arabia, I think. Let's see. I think it's Taman. I think it's around Yemen. And Buz, B-U-Z in English. I'm just guessing on that one. And all that are in the utmost corners of what? The earth. This didn't happen. And all the kings of Arabia, the royal family, and Arabia could include today UAE, Oman, that kind of thing. And all the kings of the mingled people that dwell in the desert. That could mean any of the desert places. And all the kings of Zimri. What you're doing is you're getting a roadmap to the nations that are going to be destroyed, and probably the nations that are going to send soldiers to put a siege on Israel any day now. Where is this? Midian. These are in the Arab countries near Israel is where they are. And all the kings of Elam. Now, Elam incorporates southwest Iran, parts of Iraq, and parts of Syria. And we've been covering Elam in Jeremiah 49, so here you see it again. And we know that Nebuchadnezzar never ransacked Elam and made him a desolation. It never happened. This is future, all of these countries. And all the kings of the Medes, that's the Median Empire, that covers quite a lot of people. I believe it would cover Turkey and stuff. and all the kings of the north far and near. So you go up north from Israel. So you got, you know, in a way, you got Syria in there, you got Lebanon in there, then you got Turkey in there, you know, and you could go further north, I guess. And all the kingdoms of the world, which are upon the face of the earth. Now, that certainly never happened with Nebuchadnezzar, with the Babylonian era, never. Never. The king of Sheshach shall drink after them. Now, I believe that's America today. Let's check this. Yeah. It's a demonic reference to the kingdom of Babylon. In other words, you could think of it as one of the moron things they worship. Okay? That's how I look at it. So, you know, Baal or Bel were other idiot things they were worshiping in Babylon. They had quite a few idiot things in Babylon that they worshipped. There was no real shortage of stupid things to worship in Babylon. They had an abundance of them. There's something here where they had an abundance of, you know, idiot things to worship in Babylon. Okay? So this is referencing America. So the king of Sheshach, which today would be Biden, or maybe I should say Obama in reality, but you get it after them. So I told you yesterday Biden's dangerous right now. You know, he's about to start going crazy. It doesn't look like the Democrats are taking him off the ballot. People are saying they're waiting to take him off. But no, they're not. If they take Biden off the ballot, within 24 hours, probably less, Fox and CNN and Trump and a million other people are going to say, if he's got too much dementia and senility to run again, why the heck are we keeping him in the White House with all these wars over our head? What are we, crazy? Get him out. No, I don't think they want to do that. If they let the people, we the people, demand the president get yanked out of office, then there'll be no end to it. Every time a president lies to him to get elected, and then stabs the people in the back and does what he wants against their best wishes, they would just start screaming, get rid of him. And the American people, the Americans that run America would have a problem on their hands, because in my white-haired lifetime, I've never seen a president that got elected and did better for the people. I never saw that in my day. Who? Nobody. I can pretty accurately remember the days of Johnson, somewhat. When Kennedy was president, I knew he was president, but I didn't know anything about anything. Johnson was not a great guy. None of them are. And all the kings of the north, far and near, one with another, and all the kingdoms of the world, which are upon the face of the earth, and the king of Sheshach shall drink after them. They're already drinking. Therefore, thou shalt say unto them, thus saith Jehovah of armies, the God of Israel, drink you and be drunken, and spew and fall, and rise no more, because of the sword which I will send among you. That's war. Have you seen any signs of wars lately? Rumors of war? Just a little? See, there are people, and I would say they could be very possibly right, that lost tribes are in Korea, both Koreas. Okay? And Japan. And Taiwan and the Philippines. Who is China and North Korea going after? South Korea, which will also destroy North Korea, Satan knows that. Japan, Taiwan, and the Philippines. And America has lost tribes. They're going after America. And there's a lot of lost tribes that lost their identity, don't know they're Israel. In the Arab countries, it says they shall come out of the north and return to Israel. When he appears in the clouds, they're going to be affected too as part of Israel, and they'll have that everlasting life, which is not that they can't die, long-lasting life, olam, if you will. Would be a good way of expressing it, and they'll come to Israel to serve Jehovah. So Satan could be trying to whack the tribes of Israel in Asia Pacific and in the Middle East by putting the whole Middle East at war. Is Europe the lost tribes? I don't think so. I mean, I don't know. I'm not looking there though. Could be, but I'm not looking there. I'm sure there's some there. By happenstance, they're probably just living there, but Europe in general being lost tribe, I don't think so. That's British Israelism, and that's not anything I go by. So I would be looking for that. And it shall be, if they refuse to take the cup at thy hand to drink, then shalt thou say unto them, thus saith Jehovah of armies, you shall certainly drink. For lo, I begin to bring evil on the city which is called by my name. Now, what city is that? Jerusalem is not called Jerusalem. There's no J in the Hebrew alphabet, which means Jesus could never be the real name of the Messiah, the firstborn Son of God. His name is Yeshua. And Jehovah's name could never be Jehovah. Now, if you know in your heart who you're talking to and praying to, I imagine the prayers would work even though you use the name of Jesus. Okay? But if you know better, you should do better. If you don't know better, that's another story. Okay? So Yerushalayim is the name of Jerusalem, and Yah is one of God's names that he's referred to in the Bible. Yerushalayim, the city named after Jehovah. Netanyahu runs these abomination parades through there every year, and the rabbis just sit still. Bring sin on Israel. They like that. They get more power that way spiritually. I begin to bring evil on the city which is called by my name, and should you be utterly unpunished, you shall not be unpunished, for I will call for a sword upon all the inhabitants of the earth. Well, that could also be Haaretz, which would mean the land of Israel. But since he named so many other countries, I don't think it references Israel. It references the word Haaretz, the earth or the land, could mean Israel or the earth. In this case, because we're reading of all these other countries, I think it probably means the earth. Therefore prophesy thou against them all these words, and say unto them, Jehovah shall roar from on high. I imagine we'll hear that real soon. And utter his voice from his holy habitation. He shall mightily roar upon his habitation. He shall give a shout as they that tread the grapes against all the inhabitants of the earth. That's the wine press, I guess. A noise shall come even to the ends of the earth. For Jehovah hath a controversy with the nations, with the heathens. So again, it's talking about the earth, not just Israel. Because he doesn't have a controversy with Israel, it's a controversy with the nations over Zion. He will plead means judge. They like to tell you plead. Like they want you thinking God's going, oh, please listen to me, please, please. It means judge. He will judge all flesh, so it's all the nations. And he will give them that are wicked to the sword, saith Jehovah. Thus saith Jehovah of armies, behold, evil shall go forth from nation to nation. You know, that again leads us to, of course, it means the whole earth. And a great whirlwind. Now the word for that is sa'ar, a tempest, a storm, a whirlwind. Now a hurricane's a whirlwind. You know how they show those pictures of the eye and it's spinning and all that. Right? So it's sort of like a twister, but a different kind of twister, but still a twister, I guess. And it says great, which is gadol, it means big or great. Great is decent translation, of course. Great whirlwind raised up from the coasts of the earth. But where do the hurricanes start from? Usually from the coast of Africa, don't they? When they hit America, anyway. I imagine the ones that hit Asia, they call them cyclones, or they have different names for hurricanes in different places. They probably don't come from Africa. I don't know where they originate. Probably another coast. And the slain of Jehovah shall be at that day, Zechariah 12, that day. From one end of the earth, even until the other end of the earth. They shall not be lamented, neither gathered, nor buried. They shall be dung upon the ground. Howl ye shepherds and cry. Well, shepherds, that's Ezekiel 34. The bad shepherds get cut off. And the fat cattle get cut off, the millionaires, the rich ones. Howl ye shepherds and cry, and wallow yourselves in the ashes. So but in the ashes is added into the text, so it's not in the original text. Wallow yourselves, you principal of the flock. That's the fat cows, the millionaires, the rich ones, the Satan bots. You're not getting rich unless you're a Satan bot. You principal of the flock, for the days of your slaughter and of your dispersions are accomplished. You see, they're all going into captivity too, having to leave their nations. That's what happens to Elam. They scatter to every nation in the world. And you shall fall like a pleasant vessel. Well, that means you take a beautiful vase and you have a beautiful tile floor. You take the vase up to chest height, open up your hands, it falls down and hits the tile and breaks into all kinds of pieces. That's what that means. That's the captivity. The country's broken, destroyed, and the pieces, the people go to all the other different countries. They go into captivity. Or it could also mean they're dead. Probably both. And the shepherd shall have no way to flee, nor the principal of the flock to escape. So they're caught in the siege where Judah and Jerusalem is surrounded. They got nowhere to go. They're going to die of the sword. A voice of the cry of the shepherds and a howling of the principal of the flock. These are the bad shepherds that get cut off, and the principal of the flock are the rich fat cats. Shall be heard, for Jehovah hath spoiled their pasture. That's where they eat. That's where they rest. That's where they hang out. And the peaceable habitations are cut down. The peaceable habitations are the nice houses. Strong's puts it into English: happy, friendly, prosperous, prosperity houses. Are cut down. The mom they don't say cut down. That's not what it says. Be quiet or silent. There's nobody living in them anymore until we move in. So cut down means silent. So I guess they're not all destroyed. Because of the fierce anger of Jehovah, he hath fortaken his cover, as the lion, for their land is desolate. Okay, so he's hiding in the bushes or behind trees or something. His cover is covert. So, like a lion, when he sees the prey he wants to go after, then he breaks his cover and charges. And they try to get away. For their land is desolate because of the fierceness of the oppressor. Their land is desolate is not Israel, it's the nations, the heathens around us. And maybe not around us too. Because of the fierceness of the oppressor. Well, that's them. And because of his fierce anger. So they're reaping what they sow. So the easiest thing to glean out of this is there's going to be a lot of wars. Any day. Now, is it possible I'm wrong about nuclear war? It gotta be possible, but I'm still not convinced of it because, you know, if they nuked Israel, you couldn't live there for, what, 20, 30 years or something. Maybe they just nuke each other. I don't know. There's so much evidence against the nukes that I don't know what to tell you. But maybe it's real. I don't see it in the Bible, but it could be. Couldn't they destroy each other very, very quickly with just conventional weapons? Yeah. A lot easier with nukes. I don't have anything concise here as to what happens to Israel in terms of damage and destruction. I do know we took a substantial amount of damage in the south near Gaza. And substantial up in the north, the border area near Lebanon. And not that much elsewhere. Fires in the north and the south burned a lot of land. That happened. So, let's keep praying that the Lord shows me how much destruction is really going to happen to Israel. So it doesn't look from this that he's going to burn all the nations up. He's going to burn up the daughter of Babylon, but we don't know about the other nations. So pray we get the answers. Please pray it's cooler today. It doesn't get that hot. Hold on a second. So the Lord's not going to be burning up all these nations in Jeremiah 30:11. So I expect the wars are going to take off. And they could start this afternoon. I mean, they're so close. Pray that if there is a certain trigger to it, that we find out what it is. But it's the Lord's trigger. I don't think the nation's trigger means much. These countries have so much artillery and bombs and missiles, they could just rain destruction down on each other all day long. We know that when the wicked get cut off in Israel, their ashes under our feet. Ezekiel 34 doesn't tell us exactly how they get it. I mean, it's tough to imagine a scenario where the invaders come in and leave the poor people alone and just go after the rich. Could happen. When Babylon attacked Israel, the days of Nebuchadnezzar, they left the poor people there to be gardeners and take care of the land. Many others got killed. If we pray for it, we're probably going to get the answers. I do have a prayer request, speaking of prayers, for EB, Echo Bravo, EB, Echo Bravo, EB, Echo Bravo. Prayer for healing of intestines, or you could say the guts. Healing for EB in the intestines, or the guts, or the digestive system, you could say. Healing for EB. Okay, that's the only prayer request I have today. Let me see if we have any questions in the chat. So, the doom and gloom is going to be pretty close next 4 weeks or so. Yes, Devorah is right, laughing at the wicked. This is true. So J.A. wants a prayer for health and a job and not to be alone. So J.A. Jack Alpha, J.A. Jack Alpha, prayer for health and a job and not be alone. Okay. Let me take that down for privacy. I'm just going to remove it. I'm not blocking anybody. Okay, someone wants us to pray for GC, Girl Charlie, GC, Girl Charlie, GC, Girl Charlie, that he gets a resolution on money owed to him, that GC gets a resolution on money owed to him. I have no idea if GC is a believer or not. If GC's not a believer, I don't know why we would assume that that'll get answered. And if he is a believer, then we'd have to, we'll put it out for prayer, but did he do anything wrong? I don't know. Someone says Isaiah 11, 10 to 12. Let's look. Isaiah 11, 10. And in that day there shall be a root of Jesse, which shall stand for a sign, an answer is a sign of the people. To it shall the Goyim seek, and his rest shall be glorious, and it shall come to pass in that day that that Adonai will set his hand again the second time to recover the remnant of his people, which shall be left from Assyria and from Egypt, and from Pathros, and from Cush, and from Elam, and from Shinar, and from Hamath, and from the islands of the sea. And he shall set up a sign for the Goyim, and shall assemble the outcasts of Israel, and gather together the dispersed of Judah. That's good scripture. All right. So let's pray that the Lord reveal to me if nukes are real. This could maybe be accomplished with some crazy chemical, biological weapon as well. I don't know. I'm not leaning in that area. Of course, for the countries to be destroyed to make the people leave, I think you need not a sanitary biological chemical weapon that leaves the buildings. You need explosive force. And pray we still get more insights. He's giving us the pieces, piece by piece. And so this still doesn't illustrate to us that there's going to be great destruction in Israel, so there may not be. Could God keep our electricity running if the power plants were destroyed? Yeah. You think he needs a power plant to make electricity? Yeah. He could speak electricity into existence. I'm sure he could. But he could also protect the power plants from ever being destroyed. So the nations, I think, are beginning to stack up against Israel for Zechariah 12. So the nations are going to be destroyed by wars. So the wars are going to take off, and it doesn't look like Jehovah's going to just burn all of them up. The Order of Babylon's going to get burned up. Maybe a couple other places, but in general they're going to kill each other. And not everybody's going to get killed in these countries, but a lot of them. Do the nations get destroyed possibly after Israel enters the year of recompense by the appearing of the sign of the Son of Man? It could be, maybe. Because, you know, he says, you're my, what does he say? You're my battle axe. With you will slay the nations. Remember that in Jeremiah 50:51? Well, we need to pray if the nations get destroyed after the appearing of the sign of the Son of Man. Because that might be, because we go to war. But the old shall fight like King David, who killed Goliath, a bear, and a lion, the feeble, because they're not feeble anymore. And the house of David will fight like the glory of God of Israel, who killed 150,000 in one day. Sling stones, simple use, all of this. Keep praying. We need more answers, okay? It's working. The prayer is working. Pray for cooler temperatures today, tomorrow, and so forth in my area. All right. So I'm Moshe. Please pray for me and my wife for our peace, safety, protection, and joy, and healing of our bodies. And pray for strength, stamina, and endurance for us. And pray for better Bible studies. better live streams, pray for the peace of Jerusalem. These are all suggestions. Pray for our finances and health, and pray for our birds and dogs that they be happy, healthy, and whole. They're all rescues, every one of them. And thank you for those that are sending offerings. It's much appreciated. And at this point, I will send my shalom to all those who love Yeshua HaMashiach. And I'm out, and I apologize for those interruptions, but that's life in the promised land today. Sorry about it. I don't have a staff. It's just little old me. Okay, guys, thank you. I hope you got something out of it. So get ready for the wars.